it was a poor showing of how to even get 30 yards up the pitch with the ball. Have you ever seen a game of football where Son has had so little involvement? He was crying at the end. I think he was probably crying that he never got a touch of the ball in the final, not the fact that
Benvenido, welcome to another episode of Shoot the Defense. I'm your host Stel, and I've got Rhodri and Steve Eyre. Rhodri, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. You?
Yeah, very good, very, very good. How are you feeling after the weekend?
Yeah, well, it was a good one to miss. The first game I've missed in a while, playing golf at 1 o'clock, and they kicked off at 2, didn't they? So I missed it all, but yeah, it was a good one to miss, wasn't it? Got the 2 minutes highlights from match today.
Yeah. I mean, I could do the review of the Man United Leeds game right now, and it will take me about 15 seconds. Other things take me 15 seconds as well. I'm not going to get into that. Steve, how you doing?
Really good, Stel, are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Good, thank you, mate. And I bet you're buzzing after, what was it, the 4th League Cup victory in a row now for City?
Yeah, really pleased. I really enjoyed watching them play. There's some hard games recently. Obviously, the Dortmund games, the Leeds game, Chelsea at Wembley. But I think the way Tottenham played, which was pretty laboured and sat in, I think City really stepped up and made it a final of their own. And obviously, the scoreline is all that mattered. It was narrow, but I thought the performance was heavily convincing and deservedly. We lift the trophy again for the 4th year running.
Absolutely.
The smell of the hot dogs gone yet? Are they still there?
Well, hopefully we'll be going back. We like those hot dogs, like Brian Kidd says. Once you get to those semi-finals, you can start smelling the hot dogs, and we've been doing that quite a lot in the last few years. So yeah, looking forward to as much as I enjoyed going, I equally look forward to going back just as quick.
Lovely. Right, let's talk about that League Cup final then, because as Steve rightly said, very one-sided affair. Tottenham Hotspur, who had Ryan Mason in charge, bloke looked like a deer in headlights. No disrespect to the guy. I've met him a couple of times. He seems like a sound bloke. But yeah, massive occasion for Spurs. And I think it goes back to what we said at the beginning of the season about Spurs and how they don't have that many big game players that have experience winning competitions. All right, you can say Davinson Sanchez has won the Eredivisie and Lloris has won the World Cup. And a couple others have won a few trophies here and there, Steve. But, we'll talk about City in just a moment. But Spurs, again, I mean, a lot of their fans felt they were going to get a hiding. They didn't. But something tells me that if Jose Mourinho was a head coach, walking him out at Wembley, I don't think it would have been so one-sided. And to be honest, I think Spurs would have nicked the victory. That's my honest opinion, though.
Yeah, well, it's respected and you're welcome to it. I don't think they would have nicked a victory, but I think they would have had a route map to get into Manchester City's half better than Tottenham did yesterday under Ryan Mason. I'm completely guessing, but it looked a team that wanted to compete in a final, were happy to be there, but were there to keep the score down and hope for the best. They played 3 up front, but they weren't ever up front. They were sat in and they were narrow around the centre circle. And they were happy to defend their own box, and they did it well. But there was a lot of last-ditch clearances, the ball hitting a lot of bodies around the goal area to stop a hammering, really, for them. And then the time they did have a bit of time on the ball in their own half to put the foot on it and find a way into City's half, they looked like it wasn't through lack of adventure, Stel. It looked like it was through lack of idea. They didn't know how to advance up the pitch. It looked like to me a team that's probably prepared for a final, probably 3 or 4 days training or whatever, but it was all sat in their own half, keeping the score down. So if it was just that, they actually did that pretty good. But of course, then you've got to turn defence into midfield into attack, and it was a poor showing of how to even get 30 yards up the pitch with the ball. Have you ever seen a game of football where Son has had so little involvement? He was crying at the end. I think he was probably crying that he never got a touch of the ball in the final, not the fact that
You're right. You're right.
They did a quarter of the job for me. They sat in and kept the score down, but it wasn't enough. But like I say, never mind score or threaten. They had no idea how to get out of their own half and into City. So they were never going to trouble, and I was never worried as a supporter.
So what was the game plan then? What was the game plan? Take it to penalties? What was it?
Well, keep the score down, hope for the best. They mentioned they mentioned on the TV commentary and hope for a set play, but it's desperate stuff. That it's a final. It's an hour and a half, and I know it should never go out of fashion. It's 11v11. It's a one-off game, and I think Mourinho's been nailed over 2 years for having the handbrake on. But that was just like a driving lesson. That was literally like a driving lesson at the first time on the road, where just go dead steady, don't do anything, and actually just get to the end of the lesson and hope you've not pranged any cars. That's how it seemed to me.
Rod, that was Tottenham's first final in 13 years. I feel sorry for the fans that got tickets for this game and had the opportunity to watch a game, because listen, we haven't had fans in stadiums for a year now. And for Tottenham to put on a display like that, it's absolutely shambolic. I know people are going to say, well, Harry Kane wasn't fully fit. Well, if he's not fully fit, then don't play him. It's that simple. I'm not accepting any excuses from Spurs fans or the players. I think that was a shambolic performance. They should be embarrassed of themselves.
Yeah, you kind of feel sorry for Ryan Mason, because he did look like a deer in the headlights. But it's the people up top making decisions that the guys who wanted to be in the Super League, or the ones who probably the one-off game. Probably the best manager you probably picked is Mourinho, and even though they weren't doing well, in the cup final, Gareth Bale, Harry Kane, they've got match winners. You never know, but yeah, it was a poor display, especially the final. And you feel sorry for Ryan Mason, because he just looked proper out of his depth.
Well, Rod, I caught most of it, but whenever I saw Spurs in possession, it was literally on the edge of their box, just playing it sideways to the fullback, to the central defender, playing it forward 5 yards, playing it backwards. I'm thinking, what's with all this possession play? Man City are not going to press you really, really, really hard the pitch with so much intensity, because they know Spurs are going to give the ball away eventually, because they didn't have a clue what they were doing. It was an embarrassing performance, man.
Yeah, it was the same at the end, when the last 5-10 minutes, they just couldn't string 3 or 4 passes together. And every time City got it, City would keep it for 2-3 minutes, and they're just running the clock out. And it was just like I say, very, very poor, very, very poor for the final, and for some good players. Now, not great players, but to put up a better fight than that, because City should have beaten 4 or 5. Right.
And I'll tell you, when I saw some of the Spurs players picking up their runners-up medals, because it was in a box, wasn't it? I just imagine like a bowl of wine gums, and these Spurs players trying to get just the red ones, because they're just walking up to them and just looking at, oh, I'll take this one, I'll take that one. You're happy to take a runners-up medal? It's embarrassing. Anyway, let's talk about City.
There'll be a few ballerins in that squad.
Yes, that's right. World Cup final medal. Yes, well done. Was it World Cup final? Was it World Cup final?
I don't know, but it's a losers. It was a losers medal.
It wasn't a World Cup final. No, it wasn't a World Cup final. Sorry, Spain won their World Cup final. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He accepted it.
It was a losers medal.
It's a losers medal. Okay, there you go.
That's all you need to know. It's not going around your neck.
There you go. True. So, Steve, Man City then, absolutely dominant. Writing was on the wall. I guess in the first 5 minutes, they were just peppering Spurs, really. And it was toying with them. When you see a cat that catches a bird and it kind of lets it fly off a bit, then catches it and drops it. That's what City were doing the whole time, weren't they? Yeah.
It was fingers in the dam for Tottenham Hotspur. Once they tried to block one problem, something else spurted somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? And it was good to see Sterling looking like he was enjoying his match. He had a real difficult Wembley semi-final against Chelsea. And he didn't get his own way yesterday, but he had a little bit more time on the ball to basically skip around defenders and get to the byline, and a couple of unlucky efforts. So I was pleased about that. Obviously, Mahrez got the man of the match, and probably rightly so. He's another one that is, he's an amazing player when he's at his best. But I think now no one should really be getting bored of it yet, because he's getting better and better. Is the Phil Foden performance. And what's really interesting for me, Stel, now is he's a stone heavier in football muscle. His legs have thickened up, his shoulders and his chest have thickened up, and he's lightning fast on the surface. He's receiving the ball, which has always been natural to him, but then he's off and away, and he's gliding and he's dribbling and driving, and he's absolutely amazing. But there was a lot of big performances for City. I thought the ref was absolutely superb for City as well. So just get that one in as well because he helped us in the first half. I thought I'd say that before Rhodri jumps in.
Yeah, was it Laporte? Bit of a lucky boy, wasn't he?
He was lucky in terms of that he didn't get a yellow card, but that was tongue in cheek, the comment. But initially, he was lucky he didn't get a yellow card for that. But I don't go with it at all that he was lucky to stay on the pitch because he wouldn't have made the second challenge. He made the second challenge because it was worth a booking. It was stopping a counter attack because he hadn't been done for the first. So he wouldn't have made that challenge if he'd been on a yellow card. So he wouldn't have been sent off. So all the ones who said he should have been sent off, he would have been sent off. He wouldn't because he wouldn't have made that challenge on a yellow card. He did it because it was blank.
There's only Fred that does things like that.
So what about Fernandinho's tactical fouls, Rod? I know you've got a bit of a gripe about this.
It's great because he gets away with it, so you can't knock it. But it's happening, and the referees know it's happening, yet he still gets away with it. Maybe the referees don't know it's happening, and they're just blind to it. But as a fan, you see it, and the commentator even now are onto it. So yeah, but you, as a player, that's what you do, don't you? If you get away with it, you get away with it. It's the referee's job to do the booking. So it's a booking. But it's not, it's first 5-10 minutes crap. It's a booking. But they get away with it time and time again. That's just experience. Nothing more, nothing less.
Okay. Well, look, before we move on, I just want to talk about one more thing, Spurs related. Obviously, we know the Super League isn't going to happen. City have pulled out of it. Spurs have pulled out of it. Now, I know Nagelsmann, the Leipzig manager, has agreed to join Bayern Munich at the end of the season. So that rules him out of the Spurs job. I've seen the list of contenders. Your mate Eddie Howe's on it, Rod. Potter's on it. A few others are on it. Where do Spurs go from here now? Because I can't see Ryan Mason getting the job full time. I'll be very surprised if he does. Or is he 29 years old, 30, something like that? Don't even know how old he is, to be fair.
29.
29. There you go. So where do Spurs go from here? Who can they bring in? There's talk about Rafa Benitez.
You'd think Ledley King would be next in line, but he obviously not even in with a shout. But yeah, it's
he might not want it.
Yeah, true. But why would you not want it? Maybe he's not ready. Maybe he's not ready, but she's not ready. Let's have it right. Come on.
Yeah.
So it's a difficult job. The first job is Harry. Come on, you're signing or you're staying. What's happening? So because if he goes, then you've got a massive problem. So that's the first issue you need to solve. But does Daniel Levy run it through the captain? Does it have that conversation? Says you'd know more than me. Would the captain have a conversation with the owner, especially someone as high profile, Harry Kane, the England captain, the captain of the football club?
Totally, mate. Yeah, and if they've obviously got worries and concerns, but obviously designs that they want him to stay, finish his career, break all the records, I've got absolutely no doubt in my mind that Harry Kane is involved in the entries and the exits of Tottenham Hotspur because he's earned the right. It's not a sneaky process, but he has that status. Captain of England, captain of Tottenham, potential record breaker. One of their own, they sing, but that's what the fans attach themselves to. It would be foolish not. And he doesn't seem like a duck egg either. Do you know what I mean? So you get the feeling he knows what good looks like and feels right. They would be foolish not to speak to a senior player. They have these leadership groups these days, which is a little bit of nonsense, but you'd be foolish not to speak to someone of Harry Kane's status. I'm convinced of it, Rod.
So who do you think is going to get the job then? Who's going to take the Spurs job?
Well, I've got a feeling for the Wolves manager.
Nuno, yeah.
And I don't laugh, but I could then see somebody like Chris Wilder. Honestly, I could see him going to Wolves. Wolves have been playing with a back three. Nobody's played with a back three better than Chris Wilder, other than the last 12 months in football. Promoted out of League One, promoted out of the Championship. Fantastic year in the Premier League. He's had 3 amazing years with the back three, which is how Wolves play. And then let's have it right. He's had a year of struggle. He's recruited poorly, and not much has gone right for them. But a British manager in there, I could see that as a fit, despite his stock rising and then falling in the last 12 months, I could see something like that happening. I know it sounds a bit quirky at this stage, but Nuno for Tottenham and Chris Wilder for Wolves, for me, would be a fit.
If you're saying Chris, sorry, Stel, if you're saying Chris Wilder, surely then Sean Dyche is doing a better job than Wilder, because he's got more or less, he's done the same job, but Burnley a better job.
Well, Dyche for Wolves.
But if it's like a style of play, Rod, I think Crystal Palace have got 18 opportunities to sign new players in the summer. They've often had a British manager. They've actually just about to probably finish with an ex-England manager. I've got a feeling that Sean Dyche would, I totally respect what you're saying, but he would either stay at Burnley under new owners and try and progress them even further and get them away from this relegation almost fight to just a steady position. He might have better designs on being a top 10, top 12 manager, and he might think he could do that somewhere like Crystal Palace, who seem to back British managers, have a largely British team, and they've got an opportunity to sign 15 to 18 players probably.
And for some reason, there seems to be a good pool of players around that Croydon area. They seem to come through the ranks, more as well.
But they're all, there's a load of them aging, Rod, and you are right, and I'm sure they've got some that we've not heard of yet, but from what I can gather, there's a load out of contract and there's a load of senior players who are coming to the end. So whoever gets that job next, it's not a massive task. It's a real exciting one because they've got an opportunity to breathe a whole new life into the place via the recruitment. If they get that right, Crystal Palace could bounce.
Do you remember Bobby Bowery and Simon Osborne that played for Crystal Palace back in the day?
Yeah.
Well, Bobby Bowery runs the Valencia Academy, which is down South London ways, and they've got a link with Crystal Palace. A lot of their players actually go on to play at Crystal Palace's academy or even Charlton's. But Valencia is also an agency, so they have a few players on their books. So they've practically got, I wouldn't say got a stranglehold. That would be a bit unfair to say that they've got a stranglehold of the talent in that region. But as you said, South London, Croydon areas, Rod, hotbed of talent, loads of young players, and they end up going to Millwall or West Ham or, Charlton, etc. And we see them move on. So yes, it's a big catchment. But let's see,
they do spend a bit more money than Burnley as well. They do about not as much as everyone else, but they do spend a lot more than Burnley. I think it probably makes sense for the next step for him.
I'm adamant Eddie Howe's going to get the job.
But what I'm saying is Wilder's done well with Sheffield United, but if you look at Dyche, he's done exactly the same, but not better, no.
So we're talking about all these names for Crystal Palace and Wolves. Yeah, Steve has said Nuno's going to go to Spurs, or he reckons he's going to go to Spurs. Rod, do you want to guess who's going to get the Spurs job? Because they're talking about the Athletic Bilbao manager. No.
Yeah, I think it'd be wrong to go with anyone out of who's not really got Premier League experience, unless he's a top class manager. We've seen it time and time again. It doesn't work. You don't know the Premier League. So unless they bring, I don't know any top name foreign managers that are available at the minute. The old Juventus manager, I suppose.
Allegri, Spurs.
Allegri,
maybe.
Allegri, but Nuno's done a great job of Wolves, and that'd be the next step for him now to be at Tottenham and have a chance to go in the top, big six. So, but yeah.
Can you imagine Bielsa? Can you imagine?
He's got it cushy there. He's got a good system there. He's got a good run of players. He seems to, but does he want to, if you get asked or he gets the question, would you like to meet Spurs? I'm pretty sure, it'd be difficult to turn down.
Imagine Bielsa getting the Spurs job or being offered the Spurs job. He lives above a newsagents in Leeds. He had to go live above Chick King down Tottenham High Road.
Yeah, Seven Sisters.
Chick King first thing in the morning, banging on the doors. Señor, pollo, please, por favor. Oh, you can speak English, mate. Oh, geez, I'm going to get a couple of Leeds fans sending me death threats.
Daniel Levy be buzzing. Tottenham bin. Get Tottenham bin out.
Fantastic. All right. Okay, let's move on. Premier League, shall we? Liverpool, Newcastle. What a game that was. Jesus, one apiece. I don't think any of us gave Newcastle a chance to get a point at Anfield, let alone anything really. But wow, all Liverpool, total dominance, but then wasteful in front of goal, and it hurt them. Callum Wilson scored a goal I think should have been given. I don't know why. Okay, I do know why it was given. Handball was given. I could see why, but for me, it wasn't a handball. But then Joe Willock came off the bench and scored another vital goal. Steve Bruce must be buzzing right now, and he's probably, doing what Mr. Bean did in America, like doing all of that middle finger to everyone. That's
good luck to him. I think Rhodri's met him over the years and that, and we know about him because of his status and his profile. But they don't seem any bullshit with him. They don't seem any nonsense with him. He might not be elite, but or what Newcastle want, because we're all greedy as football supporters. We always want something better, unless you're in the top three. And they've had a miserable time, miserable football, miserable results, and paid fortunes for players who've not done the business. But once they get to this stage, they were large conversations, chats. We've had them on here that they could go down. So they've actually won their little mini season of the last 6 weeks. It feels like they'll probably still feel they've got a bit more to do, but they've just got enough points and spirit now to get something out of games. The Tottenham game at home, Liverpool away, to get themselves out of trouble. So it's not where Newcastle want to be at the start of the season, but from where they were a month ago, he and the staff and the players have done fantastic. Without the brilliant supporters that they've got, I think he deserves a lot of credit, because he's probably never going to please them hardly any of the time. He should have this one for himself. It's a fantastic achievement in the end.
That's right. And Rod, Liverpool, wow. The knives are out for certain players. Thiago has been absolutely slammed on social media. He hasn't got an assist yet for Liverpool, even though he only got 3 last season for Bayern. Sadio Mane's come under a lot of criticism, which again, for me, is bizarre, given the fact that he's practically carried Liverpool since signing from Southampton. I know Salah's got the majority of the goals, but Mane's impact is massive. So what is it, Rod? Are we talking about more entitled football fans on social media that haven't got a fucking clue what they're talking about, or is there really a problem?
Well, there's a problem. It's called 75 million. Virgil van Dijk's not playing, so when he gets back, half the problem will be solved. So yeah, just from the heights of last year, Thiago, he's one of them players that he's very easy on the eye, looks good, he does all the right things, but really, what does he do? Not much. So he's give him time. He's still only been there 6 months, and he maybe needs time to settle. He's had COVID. He's not been necessarily a normal season. So sometimes you've got to give foreign players time. The Premier League's a lot different from the German league, but he's easy on the eye, got good technique, got everything, but on stats, and you look at it, assists, goals, doesn't really do it. So that kind of money, how much are they buying for?
Money?
No,
Thiago.
The midfielder, Thiago, yeah.
30 million.
Yeah, so you'd expect more, especially the quality coming from Bayern Munich. But when you say that, the stats, Mane, he's having that off season. He's just having an off season. You see the quality of him, and it's the same with him. He's been in and out. He doesn't seem to have been playing as much. But is he burnt out? But then again, Salah's not burnt out. He's scoring goals with the workload that they put in. Is it just catching up with him? I just think it's an off season for him, and it's been an up and down season. And they're champions. They've got a target on the back, so people want to beat them. And let's have it right. They should have won 4-0 if they put the chance away. Salah 1-on-1. You'd expect them to score them. There's a couple more that really you'd expect them to score. So let's give credit to Newcastle and what Stel said. They were under pressure. Fulham got to win points away from of a win. And then they knuckled down, and without some key players as well. So yeah, Steve Bruce, you seem to think that the owner there's got thick skin, he'll ride it out, and Steve Bruce will get to start the next season, and maybe they'll hit the ground running and keep Callum Wilson fit, keep the key players fit, and have a successful season. But staying in the Premier League is a successful season for Newcastle as well.
Do you know what? I want to talk about this Fortress Anfield thing, because their home record this season without supporters has been absolutely dreadful. And I know they talk about the 12th man, but you're talking about professional footballers here. And look, I haven't played at any respectable level, so I can't say, oh, well, it's a lame excuse. But as a supporter myself, watching these players, it seems like they're under less pressure to perform without fans in the stadium. Would you agree with that, Steve?
Yeah, I would. And I'm just looking at the two lead head coaches of the world. They've won awards for it. And obviously Guardiola's getting all the plaudits. I'll just ask you both a question. Just as you were talking then, Stel, I was thinking about Guardiola as a runner-up last season, or less, certainly not a champion last season. To this season, everything's going well. Yeah, City are all but likely to win the league, going well in the Champions League. They've just won the League Cup. But for me, Guardiola is the same person last year as a chaser and this year as a champion. Would you agree? In terms of what we see as his personality on the touchline, I see the same person.
I agree.
I see the same profile.
I agree. And I think, as you quite rightly said about him being a chaser, I think he's more comfortable being top of the league, not having to chase for the title. Whereas when he's chasing for it, you can see the pressure building. You see him a completely different character. He's snappy. He's not the same person. Let's put it that way.
Well, but Jurgen Klopp, when there's a crowd in the stadium, he's running down to the corner flag and back. Mm-hmm. He's running back to the technical area. He's having it all left, right, and centre. So he's not doing that. So does he need the crowd as well? Because that tells me he's not the same person. One, he's playing up to the crowd. The crowd's not there. He's not showing us much passion. So he can be aimed at, in my opinion, of not consistent with his character. Obviously, they're not going to go down holding hands to the Kop and wave to an empty set of seats. I understand that, like they did at Dortmund, which keeps the crowd in the stadium till 5 o'clock on a match day. And there's a load of old ladies when they've won a football match. I understand you can't do that. There's no crowd there. But when there's a crowd there, Klopp's playing to the crowd completely. He's banging the Liverpool badge. Now, there's no excuse for him to not do that just because there's no crowd in it. So he has become a champion and he's not delivering the same passion as a chaser. Whereas I believe Guardiola has been the same person as a chaser and a champion. You might say, obviously, a little bit grouchy when it's not going well, a little bit slumped in his seat. But Klopp has shown us, since he's come to the Premier League, that he's happy to leave his technical area and run to the corner flag. Why is he not doing it now?
That's a fair point. It's a very fair point. The thing is, what I will say, though, and I think the same applies to Mourinho and Guardiola, who both had bereavements recently. I think Mourinho's dad passed away while he was Man United coach, and I think Guardiola's mum passed away at the beginning of the season, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Right at the start of COVID, and he couldn't get back.
That's right. So, and we saw him struggling then. Remember, I think it was the Leeds United game where I think it was a 1-1 draw, wasn't it? And he just didn't want to. It didn't seem like he wanted to be there, Steve, did he? And I think with Klopp, he's had a similar thing with his mum passing away. He wasn't able to go to Germany and bury her. And obviously, look, every person has gone through the same situation with COVID. We've all had to deal with it. But I think as a football manager of the reigning champions, with the level of expectancy, with the injuries that they've had, with obviously the personal stuff, with the spat with Des Kelly, the Super League, I think Jurgen Klopp he's about to implode because of all the pressure. And I'm not saying that he's a bottle job by any stretch of the imagination, but I think, as a human being, he's really struggling to stay on top of everything now.
He plays to the crowd still. I like the way Sean Dyche had him on an absolute bagel when Burnley beat him.
On a bagel.
He told him where to go, and wouldn't have any of it. He was, down the tunnel and gone, having absolutely none of it. And no, I'm not having this acting of Klopp. He was a breath of fresh air, apparently, running to the corner flag, but he's not doing it now. So that tells me he's only doing it when the fans are in. That tells me he's playing to the crowd. If you're going to be like that, you've got to be like that consistently. And I think he lacks consistency himself. I think he's a great. I don't want to be misquoted here. And I thought they were amazing last year. But look at their midfield, for instance. You don't have to look any further than that. City have got De Bruyne, chips the ball into the penalty area or curls it behind defences. Man United have got Fernandes. You've got Gundogan who runs into the penalty area with and without the ball. You've got Foden who dribbles into the penalty area with and without the ball. And you've got Sterling who does the same. There's so many for City that do it. Nobody for Liverpool chips the ball in the penalty area. Nobody runs in the penalty area with and without the ball. They've still got that magic front three plus Jota. But for me, it's the second line behind the strikers of Liverpool where they are bland and nowhere near anywhere good enough to be champions in terms of supplying and providing and delivering. So for me, you've got the Van Dijk problem, which has been well documented. But in that second line in the middle of they've not got any match winners like City have and like United have with Fernandes and Pogba and the best at their best.
Fantastic. Okay, Rod, very quickly. Steve spoke about Steve Bruce earlier, but let's quickly talk about Newcastle, mate, because they're now 8 points. Sorry, I think they were 6, 7, 8, 9 points away from Fulham. Brighton are beneath them with 34 points, but above them, only on goal difference, are Burnley and Southampton. So people are very quick to say Newcastle could go down because they got Fulham on the final day of the season, even though there's only 5 games to go. But yet no one's mentioning Burnley or Southampton as possible relegation candidates, or even Brighton now, because I think Brighton lost to Sheffield United, didn't they?
Yeah, no one's speaking about Brighton. Who do you say there?
Southampton and Burnley, yeah.
You'd think they'd got enough, but Brighton are right. Fulham have got to win their games. That's the problem. And they've got Chelsea next. And then they've got a couple more hard ones, and then they've obviously got to win at the end. They've got to win all them games. They've won 5 games now all season.
Yeah.
And you expect them to win the next 5 games. So it's just not realistic, is it? You'd expect them by now to be on a run and rolling. They're leaving it late. And with Chelsea away on the weekend, yes, Brighton might not win another game, but Fulham have got to win three games at 5, and like I say, they've only won 5 all season. So the tough ask is a body blow last game when they conceded. What was it,
Arsenal,
97th minute. That's a real body blow. That puts them 5 points away. Another win, and then the 2 points, and then anything can happen. It goes to the last game, and anything can happen. But like I say, it's just a tall ask to expect them to win 3 games out of the last 5 when they've only won 5 games. I'd love them to, because I think Scott Parker's done a real good job. They've got better as the season's gone on. They got close to Newcastle, and then they just faltered a little bit. But I'm sure he'll grow from it. He'll learn from it and be a better coach from it. But it could still be a tall ask to get out of it. West Brom are down. Boing, down.
There you go. Right. Very quickly, Steve. Chelsea beat West Ham 1-0. People talking about West Ham possibly getting to top 4. I thought they could do it, but without Mikel Antonio, they look a bit toothless. Lingard wasn't the same player, but Timo Werner, who's come under a lot of criticism this season, especially given the price tag, scored the opener for Chelsea. Then he missed an opportunity, and I think after he told match of the day, something along the lines of, well, I've broken my goal, but I didn't want to go on some kind of goal streak or something along those lines. And a lot of people started criticizing for that, for him making a joke.
Well, he's going to be a brilliant player still. I am absolutely convinced. I'm even going to say that I think he'll score 2, maybe even a hat-trick before the end of the season. They are starting to become free-flowing. They win almost every game they play. They're full of confidence. He looks like he's got a real good formula there. And with that pace and that talent, and with the games they're going to win, he's going to play for Chelsea this year. And like in my opinion, he's going to score. He's going to go on a run. And in a game, he's going to score 2 goals or even 3. So you can quote me on that as a prediction. You can't have that talent and then that barren run without it coming back round in your favour. He appears to be a good teammate from what I can gather. You can't doubt that he works very, very hard. Possibly he's been trying too hard. His pace is unbelievable. The team are winning every game. He's only going to get dipped out for the odd rest. he's going to get goals between now and the end of the season, and Chelsea are going to get even better, I'm convinced.
Well, very quickly, there's one player that I want to discuss that no one really talks about anymore. It's N'Golo Kante. And I think Alan Shearer did an analysis of him at the weekend on Match of the Day about the ground that he covered, but also the amount of tracking back he was doing when his teammates were out of position. He was tracking at right back, left back, through the middle. This guy I don't know what's happened to him all of a sudden. Maybe he's found his smile. I don't know. But he seems like the N'Golo Kante that Chelsea signed 3-4 years ago.
Are they not getting ready for half an
Euros?
eye at least on what's going on for the Euros for the country?
Possibly.
I'm convinced there'll be some players somewhere who've just decided to down tools, no, but just come off it a little bit midway through the season, knowing that they're going to go all the way through the summer. Then it gets detected in their own club, and they get left out, rested, rotated, dropped, whatever you want to call it. And then all of a sudden now, is it 47 days till the Euros? If you're a real top player, you're almost not disrespecting the Premier League, but you're almost using that as a pre-Euros, a pre-season for you to represent your country. For some players, it'll be for the last time in a tournament. I'm not suggesting it would be the last time for him, but there'll be definitely players I think you'll see now kick in. That'll be the phrase that I would use, Stel, kick in, because they want to finish the season correctly. Things are going well at the club, but they want to be in peak form. But they also want to be picked for the countries.
Yeah,
they want to be picked. These managers have often said now, these top managers, well, I can't pick him because he's not playing well for his club, or he's not being picked for his club. You watch these top internationals now kick in, start playing really well because they want to A, get picked for the country, and B, do well at the Euros and do something with their careers.
You're right. You can see it happening. Right, Rod, Arsenal lost 1-0 to Everton. A bit of a drab game, if you ask me, but thanks to Jay Leno in goal, that's what I'm going to call him from now on, Everton get the victory, their first win at Highbury at Arsenal since, I can't even remember. It's been a long time. Long time.
Yeah, I keep thinking about when you mentioned Arsenal, it's had Ray Powell and that Robbie having a little, you see a little food out of it.
Yeah.
It's getting talk sport. Yeah, Everton are a weird bunch, aren't they? So, they can go there and do that, but Arsenal's, where do you go? They just seem to be just not going anywhere, do they? Where are they now? 10th still? It's just not great for Arsenal Football Club to be 10th in the Premier League. And, Everton, 8th. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. You'd expect Arsenal to finish strong now and to be finishing and trying to get into Europe, but by the looks of it, they've got no chance, and all they seem to concentrate on is the Europa League, and that's what they're nailing the hat on. So,
but this is it. Like they're pinning their hopes on the Europa League. They still need to get past Villarreal, and people are saying, "Oh, well, they should get past them." But hang about, they got Unai Emery in charge, the guy that's won so many Europa Leagues in the past. It's not as if he's some manager that they picked up off the streets. So it ain't a foregone conclusion that they're going to get past Villarreal, and then they have to play United or Roma, and that's not going to be easy either. So
no, but it's even if they win all the games, how far away is Europe? Is 7th, 6th? What they're 7 points behind. So yeah, it's a tall ask, and even though it's against Villarreal, if Arsenal perform the way that they should do with the players they've got, you still think we'd go through it, get into the final and play in United, which is a big problem. But they would go back to say, well, we've turned United over once before to that this season at Old Trafford, where United United ordinary. It was one of United's real poor performances of this year, where they got turned over 1-0, and it was a real poor performance by United. So, I can't see that happening, especially in the final, especially the way they're playing at the minute. All right, Sunday wasn't the best performance, but Eyre late, they still haven't been beat for 20-odd games in away from home. So, still got to get past Rome, and they've still got. We're saying we're going to play in the final. No, Rome are a fantastic team as well. They've they've done well. All right, we should beat them, but it's still Roma, and it's still a difficult game, home and away. So they're not far conclusions, but you'd expect Arsenal to beat them, and then United, the big hurdle, you would expect in the final.
Fair enough. All right, well, let's talk about United really quickly, really quickly, because there isn't really much to say about this game against Leeds United. 0-0. Not much happening. I remember Rashford having a free kick saved by the goalkeeper. Steve?
Fernandez in the box it was pulled back to him. It was almost a square pass, but it was slightly behind him. And he reversed his hips, if you like, for the shot, moved his hips. I think that was blocked. I know that actually went just past the post, but there was very little to talk about other than Harry Maguire saying how well they played, and then Paul Ince saying that how they didn't play well at all. So there was a complete contrast from captain to ex-captain, captain to pundit, and it was backed up by Hasselbank on the telly as well, who said Manchester United was stale. Solskjaer came on with a smile and suggested that they did enough to win, but lacked a little bit of magic in the right areas. But I don't know. It's Rhodri's team. It's your team. You follow them. You see it closer than me. But they've been travelling. They've been playing well. They've been playing hard. And Leeds is a running game. And it looks like they were suggesting that Man United actually ran more than Leeds United, which is rare for an opponent this year, but forgot to pass the ball or score a goal.
Yeah. And if Ollie said, was it that Solskjaer said after the game that United played well, or was it that he said?
Yeah, Solskjaer and Maguire both said that they played well, and Paul Ince just squashed it.
Okay, and Solskjaer told the protesters the other day who turned up at Carrington that Joel Glazer loves the club. So, yeah. I'm a real boy. Rod, I know you didn't watch the game, and I know you watched highlights, but it wasn't the humdinger of a game people expected. Man United, Leeds United, they're supposed to be fire in it. They're supposed to be, hard challenges.
That's the one. This is the one where you want the fans, don't you? So get the fans in. It's proper rivalry. They probably miss the Leeds fans, giving it United fans and United vice versa. So yeah, it was, like I said, it was a good one to miss. Paul Ince, has he ever said anything positive against Dollar? So yeah, you'd kind of expect that, but Hasselbank, even though he's a Leeds man, he's quite fair pundit, and he's quite fair with his punditry, so and his opinion. So you've got to go with that. But you're going to say that as it. Well, mind you, is Maguire? I don't know. Would you say that? I probably wouldn't say that. But these are different people. You just probably thought they played better and just not to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah. Well, it was just
looking at the substitutes. They left the substitutes late. Van der Beek, 87th minute. Cavani, 85th minute. Could you not throw them on after?
Yeah, Paul Ince's biggest complaint, Rhodri, was that Cavani only got 6 minutes, and in the Ferguson days, in the era, of course, when he played, centre halves would go up, pressure would come on, long balls would go up, speed would come into the game, subs would be on earlier, and Man United aren't settling for drawing 0-0 at Leeds and getting a point and shaking hands and going home. You're trying to win it, and with 8 minutes to go, you're trying to win the football match. But this Man United team yesterday was trying to not lose it. That was Paul Ince's argument.
The thing is, Steve, I don't remember. Go on, Carol.
In respect to points, this is the problem with these old United players, because they were blessed to be in world class teams. This is not a world class team. They're just getting there. So they're on the high horses saying, when we did it, when you were in the world class football team, stop, be humble about it, and just stop being so bitter. So yeah, there's a lot of them about these United players. When it was in our day, they were so lucky to be in their day, because that's why some of these old pundits don't mind giving United the dig at United, because they were so hurt by these United teams over in the past 5 year in and year out, just battering them and just playing them off the park or physically, either way. And it's not that. This team is just not that at the minute. So
Fair
But
enough.
you'll get these old players still banging on about my day, my day, my day.
Yeah, but
You know,
this is
same as
where
last.
this is why context is so important, right? Did Paul Ince ever stop to think to himself, well, if Man United had a European semi-final in 4 or 5 days' time, and they travelled to Leeds United in a game that really doesn't mean anything because what could happen? United delay Man City winning the title by another week. So did he expect Bruce and Pallister to be emergency strikers in the last 10 minutes against Leeds United in a game that doesn't matter when United have got a big European game?
No. They wouldn't have played. Ferguson wouldn't have played them. They would have been someone
There you
else who'd
go.
been playing.
This one's all about
But, you know,
context.
Yeah, and then they seem to forget all that though. And you know, he had Brian Robson, Roy Keane next to him. Come on,
Yeah.
to Fred, McTominay, and Pogba's world class. But Bob's been all right. He's come to the end of his career. But Keane, come on.
Don't forget, Rhodri, as well, if they did throw players forward back in the day and throw defenders forward, if they were ever to get done on the counter-attack, which actually isn't as it is these days, there's a lot more speed in the game these days. People used to have to be able to try and score a goal past Peter Schmeichel. Do you know what I mean? So there was that they had in their favour as well. You could throw people forward and you've got the best goalie in the world in your net. So
Schmeichel used to go forward as well, Steve. Scored once, didn't he?
It's true.
So yeah, but again, if it was a dead rubber game against Leeds United away, I couldn't see Schmeichel going up there. Not at all.
No, you're gonna
Gary Walshing goal. That's what it'd be. Gary Walsh.
They've just gone for a professional performance and try and nick a 1-0 away win. A typical Ferguson European away team, try and keep it tight and try and nick away win. Nothing different. But they've got a semi-final like 5-6 days away. You want to get injured. You want to which is more important. So, but you know, Paul forgets about that.
And let's have it right as well, Rod. Last point as well. United aren't going to get first place. They've just got to make sure that they don't drop down to third place. They've only got to maintain second place to be runners up in the Premier League to Manchester City, which will be a good season. So the point that they gain keeps them well-handed for second place. So it's another thing that they've not considered there either. But Paul Ince is basically talking like he wants to be entertained. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is making sure they finish second. There's a difference, isn't there?
Well, there's a difference why he's managing. He's sat in the studio.
Well, United are 12 points ahead of West Ham, who are in fifth, and with 5 games to go. So one more win, and United are guaranteed top 4.
But I think it's that runners-up spot that they deserve.
Yeah. Well, what's the points difference between United and Leicester? 5 points now.
5 points. But, we've got Liverpool next, and Leicester got Southampton. So tough game for Southampton, but tough game for us. Liverpool at home as well. I'd rather be away. They're away form. But that's another difficult game because you just travelled home from Rome. Then you've got Liverpool, a high energy team. And that's not going to be easy either.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Is there anything you'd like to add before we wrap it up?
No, great show, Stel, and thanks as always for having me on.
No, thank you very much, mate, for jumping on.
Super hair like a hell again. Good effort, Stel.
I'm a bit older than you, mate. Wait till you're this age, mate.
Well, at least you lot have got here, for fuck's sake. Jesus Christ. Look at these lot comparing hairstyles. I don't even have that.
If you like that now, flash me on his phone.
Right. That's it then. All right, guys, have a good evening, and until next time.